Most people are walking through life like cars running on empty. They keep pushing the gas, hoping momentum alone will carry them forward. But without fuel, even the most powerful engine will stall. The truth is simple. Your mind is the engine, and what you feed it determines how you go. Garbage in, garbage out. But clarity in, courage in, truth in, that's how you become unstoppable. Think about every breakthrough, every transformation, every person who changed the world. It didn't start with resources. It started with mindset. They didn't wait for the world to hand them a roadmap. They became the roadmap. They filled their minds with purpose, and that purpose led them into action. You want to master your life. You've got to master what you allow into your mind. That means refusing to be entertained by distractions that dull your spirit. That means surrounding yourself with people who speak to your potential, not your comfort. That means learning relentlessly, intentionally, because every idea you allow into your brain is either building you or breaking your mind, is the control center of everything. Your decisions, your habits, your emotions, and ultimately your destiny. Just like a powerful engine can't run without the right fuel. Your mind can't produce clarity, strength, or progress if you're feeding it negativity, confusion, or distraction. The quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. If you allow toxic inputs, constant comparison, fear-based content, empty entertainment, you're setting yourself up for internal chaos. You can't expect high performance from a mind that's constantly being filled with junk. It's no different than pouring sugar into a gas tank and expecting the car to drive smooth. Eventually, things break down. But when you feed your mind with intention, powerful truths, disciplined routines, challenging conversations, and thought-provoking material, you activate a different kind of energy. Your thinking sharpens. Your decisions gain weight. Your presence becomes stronger because what you consume becomes what you produce. If you're always consuming excuses, you'll start believing them. If you constantly expose yourself to fear and doubt, they become the language you speak. But if you flood your mind with courage, purpose, and discipline, you start walking through life with clarity and fire in your eyes. It starts the moment you wake up. What do you allow in your mental space before the day even begins? Is it noise or nourishment? Is it urgency or intention. Every input you allow is a seed, and seeds grow. That means you have to guard your mind like it's sacred territory, because it is. When you take control of what you feed your mind, you start reprogramming how you respond to challenges, how you view your setbacks, and how you carry yourself through adversity. You don't just think better. You lead better, live better, and act with a kind of inner power that can't be shaken by circumstances. The shift is internal before it becomes external. Your mind is the control center of everything. Your decisions, your habits, your emotions, and ultimately, your destiny. Just like a powerful engine can't run without the right fuel, your mind can't produce clarity, strength, or progress if you're feeding it negativity, confusion, or distraction. The quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. If you allow toxic inputs, constant comparison, fear-based content, empty entertainment, you're setting yourself up for internal chaos. You can't expect high performance from a mind that's constantly being filled with junk. It's no different than pouring sugar into a gas tank and expecting the car to drive smooth. Eventually, things break down. But when you feed your mind with intention, powerful truths, disciplined routines, challenging conversations, and thought-provoking material, you activate a different kind of energy. Your thinking sharpens. Your decisions gain weight. Your presence becomes stronger because what you consume becomes what you produce. If you're always consuming excuses, if you'll start believing them, if you constantly expose yourself to fear and doubt, they become the language you speak. But if you flood your mind with courage, purpose, and discipline, you start walking through life with clarity and fire in your eyes. It starts the moment you wake up. What do you allow in your mental space before the day even begins? Is it noise or nourishment? Is it urgency or intention? Every input you allow is a seed, and seeds grow. That means you have to guard your mind like it's sacred territory, because it is. When you take control of what you feed your mind, you start reprogramming how you respond to challenges, how you view your setbacks, and how you carry yourself through adversity. You don't just think better, you lead better, live better, and act with a kind of inner power that can't be shaken by circumstances. The shift is internal before it becomes external. The people you surround yourself with are either pulling you forward or holding you back. There is no neutral ground. Your circle becomes your mirror. It reflects your habits, your beliefs, your energy, and your ambition. If you're constantly around individuals who complain, procrastinate, and settle for mediocrity, don't be surprised when you start thinking, acting, and living the same way. Human beings are wired to adapt to their environment, and your environment is largely shaped by the people in it. If the conversations around you are small, safe, and shallow, then your thinking shrinks to match them. If your circle normalizes comfort over growth, you'll begin to believe that staying the same is acceptable. But when you step into a circle that expects more from you, more truth, more discipline, more courage, something inside you wakes up. It's not about being the smartest person in the room. In fact, if you are, you're in the wrong room. Growth happens when you're surrounded by people who stretch your mindset, challenge your excuses, and won't let you play small. People who speak to your potential even when you can't see it yet. People who hold you accountable to the future you said you wanted. Not the comfort you've gotten used to. A strong circle won't coddle your laziness. It won't clap for your pity parties. It will call you higher. And sometimes that means confrontation. But that confrontation isn't criticism. It's correction. Iron sharpens iron, not cotton. If your environment isn't sharpening you, it's softening you. And soft minds don't win hard battles. Look around and evaluate who's in your corner, who's challenging your thoughts, celebrating your progress, and pushing you to become more. The right circle won't let you settle because they're not settling either. They're climbing their own mountains, chasing their own purpose, and their momentum becomes contagious. You begin to realize that proximity matters because exposure changes everything. When you're consistently exposed to people who think big, act with integrity, and refuse to settle, their mindset becomes your new baseline. Every piece of information you absorb is a seed, and over time, those seeds shape who you become. The mind is not a passive container. It's a builder. It takes what you give it and constructs your thoughts, emotions, decisions, and identity. If you're constantly feeding your mind with negativity, gossip, shallow entertainment, or fear-based content, don't be surprised when you begin to feel insecure, reactive, and uncertain about your path. Your mental inputs become the blueprint for how you show up in the world. What you feed your mind becomes your belief system, your values, and your daily behavior. You can't expect to think with strength and clarity if you're consuming content that weakens your perspective. You can't demand greatness from yourself if you're constantly watching mediocrity being normalized. The mind thrives on direction and discipline. When you feed it knowledge, purpose, and truth, it starts to elevate. It begins to construct a mindset that sees opportunities where others see problems. It builds resilience in place of fear. It starts aligning your internal compass toward things that matter and away from distractions that steal your momentum. Reading the right books, listening to powerful voices, and consuming content that stretches your thinking is not just a habit. It's a lifeline. It keeps your vision clear, your energy sharp, and your mission alive. You begin to filter your inputs, not just based on entertainment, but on transformation. You don't ask, is this fun? You ask, is this feeding me? And that single question shifts everything. You become a curator of your mental world, a guarding it from junk, and intentionally building a mind that's strong, creative, disciplined, and focused. The truth is, identity is shaped by repetition. The more you hear something, the more you start to believe it. The more you see it, the more normal it becomes. This is why you have to flood your environment with messages, ideas, and role models that reflect where you're going, where you've been. When you fuel your input with the right material, you don't just shift what you think. You begin to shift who you are becoming day by day, layer by layer. You were not created to live as a passenger in your own life. Yet so many people walk around like they're stuck. Stuck in their past, stuck in their environment, stuck in their pain. They wait for something to change, someone to show up, some lucky break to pull them out of the mess. But nothing changes until you take ownership. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the architect of your future. That means everything you do today is laying bricks for what your life will look like tomorrow. Every habit you build, every decision you make, every excuse you reject or accept, it all adds up. It's easy to blame your upbringing, your job, your culture, or your mistakes. But blame never builds. It only delays. And while you're pointing fingers, someone else is laying foundation. learning skills, breaking patterns, and taking full command of their direction. The people who rise aren't the ones who had the easiest path. They're the ones who decided they weren't going to live at the mercy of their situation. They took what they had and started building brick by brick, choice by choice. They chose discipline over distraction, action over avoidance, responsibility over resentment. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to stop waiting and start building. And it starts with how you think. If you keep telling yourself that you're not ready, that you're not capable, that you're not worthy, you're designing a life that reflects those beliefs. But when you change your internal language, your external world follows. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what can I build with this? That shift in perspective puts the power back in your hands. It gives you control over how you respond, how you grow, and how you move forward, even when everything around you is uncertain. Every successful person you admire once stood where you are, staring at an unfinished foundation, holding nothing but the tools of intention and belief. They didn't wait for the blueprint. They created it. One decision at a time, one day at a time. The future didn't happen to them. They built it piece by piece through ownership. Purpose is not a luxury. It's a necessity. It's the internal fire that fuels everything. When you wake up every day with a deep reason behind what you do, your actions carry weight. You stop just going through the motions. You stop being driven by feelings, moods, or convenience. Purpose gives your life direction. It anchors you when storms hit, and it pushes you forward when motivation fades. Without it, people drift. They chase distractions, they follow trends, and they settle for comfort. But when you're driven by something greater than yourself, everything shifts. Your energy, your focus, your standards. Purpose makes pain bearable. It gives suffering meaning. It takes the hard seasons of life and transforms them into building blocks for strength and growth. People who live with purpose don't avoid the struggle. They walk straight into it because they know what's on the other side is worth it. It's not about being inspired for a moment. It's about being committed for a lifetime. When you know why you're doing something, you'll find a way. You'll break through walls. You'll stay up late, wake up early, sacrifice comfort, and keep going long after everyone else has stopped. Because purpose outlasts emotion. You don't need applause when you have purpose. You don't need to be seen, validated, or even understood. Your fire burns from within. It's not dependent on praise. It's driven by vision. And when that vision is clear, your path gets clearer too. You stop chasing quick wins and you start investing in deep roots. Purpose makes your decisions easier because it filters out everything that doesn't align with your mission. It makes your battles worth fighting. It gives your yes more power and your no more clarity. You can have talent, discipline, intelligence, but without purpose, those things are just tools sitting in a box. Purpose activates them. It organizes your gifts, your time, your thoughts. It forces your potential into motion. It's what turns average days into meaningful ones and ordinary people into legends. When you move with purpose, the world starts to notice. Not because you're loud, but because you're consistent, unshaken, and locked in on something that matters. So here's the challenge: be more intentional with your input. What you read, what you listen to, who you surround yourself with. Every piece of information is a seed, and it will grow into something. Make sure it grows into something worth living for. Fuel your mind with purpose, with discipline, with truth, and when you do, when you commit to mastering your inner world, you won't just change your life. You'll take command of it. Fuel your mind, master your life. Now go, be the proof.